Alright, so we're back for the second part of the video. Tell me when.
Now.
Alright, so we're back for the second part of the video, okay? It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon now. Our first feeding, as you remember earlier today, was about 9 o'clock, okay? So I've given everybody time to eat their greens. Any greens that are left in the tank at this point are pretty much going to be old or no good. So we're going to go ahead and go through now and remove all of those old greens, okay? After I've removed all of those old greens, I'm going to be doing what's called spot cleaning, okay? I'm going to go through and I'm going to look at each tank for specific spots, like this here, this here. See, these are soiled spots on the newspaper that I now want to replace. So all I'm going to do is just go in, take out that specific piece of newspaper and replace it with another piece of newspaper, okay? And that's why I call that spot cleaning, okay? I'm just cleaning specific spots. It's not an intense cleaning, a thorough cleaning. No one's getting soaked or anything like that. This is just me going through and getting all the dead greens, dead and old greens out, as well as getting the soil paper out. And the benefit of this is, after I'm done all of this, I'm going to go through and mist everybody, okay? And the reason I want to spot clean is because I don't want the water falling on a bunch of feces and then the germs that's in those feces then traveling and puddling out into the water. The dragons are going to be drinking that water as if it was dew or mist, so I don't want them drinking, you know, water with waste in it, okay? So that's why we're going through and doing the spot cleaning before we do any misting, all right? So like I said, we're going to go through real quick. Take out all these old greens, okay? And to give you a quick example of spot cleaning, in this tank right here, we only have this spot. So all I'm going to do is simply roll this paper up. Ta-da, now the tank is clean. And I'm just going to replace that one piece of newspaper, okay? As you all know, if you've seen the earlier video that I released, I showed you my system for laying newspapers, how I set it up, the 1-2 system, 1 under, 2 over, okay? But like I said, in this case, we're just spot cleaning, just quick, something to make sure that these guys aren't surrounded in their own waste, okay? And I'm going to go through every tank and do that, all right? Now, okay, now in this case, you've seen I had to replace a whole section of newspaper. That's no problem. It's still within the realms of spot cleaning. Now I'm just going to lay back down the 2 sheets. And then the 1 sheet for my 2-1 system, as you guys know that I use, okay? And like I said, the goal is not to clean the whole tank, replace the props or anything like that, unless you absolutely need to. The goal is just to get rid of those soil spots. Again, this is called spot cleaning. You're dealing with a high volume of dragons, this is absolutely necessary. You should try to spot clean at least once a day. Preferably in the middle or later in the day. You know, the best time to do it would be right in the middle of the day, or if you can't get them in the middle of the day, later in the day, right before they go to sleep, so they're not sleeping and then waking up, you know, just being surrounded again in their own poop, okay? So, little pro tip for you, something I've been doing for a long time to ensure that I have healthy and disease-free babies, okay? If you don't know, the quickest way for dragons to get sick, aside from improper habitat or environment, is through feces. they will go through and lick feces that is laying in the tank. And as I said, in the wild, they wouldn't really have this problem because it's a vast area. They can poop and then be away from that poop. But in this captive situation, they're constantly in this one place, pooping, eating, sleeping. All of their activities are happening in one place. So you can imagine if you don't keep that under control, it can quickly become a problem. You want to be quick about this because you don't want your dragons running out of the tank and stuff like that. So it's best to have everything you need already sitting out and ready to use. I have my trash bag and I have my newspapers already sitting out and ready to go. So in a case like this, if you have this many dragons in one tank, you can make it easier for yourself. Get your bin, take them all out, and then do it. You know, that'll make it a little easier for you. Okay, so now I've got every tank spot cleaned, every tank is clean. I went out and got all the dead greens out of each tank, okay? Now the next thing I wanna do is go ahead and feed my protein. Before I mist, I'm gonna feed my protein, okay? So, for my protein, I have, as you all know, crickets. And as you see here, I have some turnip greens, okay? I always gut load my crickets with Repashy. Repashy is always available in my feeder bins, but I believe strongly in variety, okay? Variety is key. You hear me say it all the time in my videos. So that being said, I like to offer fresh fruit and vegetables to all of my feeders as well, okay? So in this case right now, they're eating some fresh turnip greens. Okay, turnip greens are high in calcium, thus my dragons will receive this in return, but I'm still gonna dust these guys with calcium, okay? And I use Repashy Calcium Plus. This is a vitamin and calcium supplement, okay? I dust my dragons crickets with this every day, okay? So now we're gonna start that. So, what I do is I dust all my crickets, like I said, with Repashy and Calcium Plus, okay? And what I use is just a big Ziploc bag, okay? I also will use a plastic container if I have one, but the plastic bag gets it done the best for me, all right? All I do is take my crickets, I take a tray like so, I stick it inside the bag, and I shake them down, okay? You might get a cricket that tries to get away, but when you're sharp as your boy, it never happens. All right? So there you see I got them all in the bag, okay? I go ahead and add my calcium. And if you want to get yourself some Calcium Plus, I highly recommend it. You already know I'm a Repashy advocate. You know what I'm saying? I'm hard and heavy on the Repashy. I trust it with my dragons' lives, okay? And I recommend you do the same. But if you want to find some Repashy, you want to get the Calcium Plus or any other Repashy products, you can check out our website, www.thelizardofoz.net. Ruthless with the plug. You wasn't even expecting that time, was you? All right. So, now I got everybody dusted. I got the crickets covered in calcium. Look at that. They look delicious. I might get me something to eat later. Okay? And now, this is a question that I commonly get asked by new bearded dragon owners. I get asked this all the time by new bearded dragon owners, and this question is, how much should I be feeding my dragon? Okay, now we already talked about how many times you should feed your dragon. That's 2 to 3 times a day. We here practice 2 to 3 times, 2 times being the minimal, and I never really feel good about feeding my dragons only twice. with them being housed, you know, together with other dragons, okay? 2 to 3. 3 really being what you need, okay? But how much? Now, when it comes to greens, as I told you, you want to give them the minimum amount. Greens aren't really expensive. They're easy to come across. So it's okay to give them a little more than they might eat. And what you want to do is kind of gauge that out based on, you know, what they're eating on a regular basis, how much they waste, etc. Me, I always leave a little more greens with the hopes that somebody will eat more than they're supposed to, because you can't go wrong with the greens, all right? Now, when it comes to feeders, live insects, crickets, roaches, etc., these can become expensive. These can become costly. Not to mention they can become irksome to deal with if they're just lingering in the tank. Crickets especially can cause harm to your reptile if you feed too many and your dragon does not eat them, okay? So what you want to do is, again, gauge how much your dragon specifically can eat. And how you do this is by slowly emptying 1 cricket to 2 crickets at a time into the tank, however many they're attacking, as long as they will eat them for a span of about 5 to 10 minutes, okay? At whatever point they stop eating, that's the, you know, stop chasing them, pursuing them, that's the time that you stop feeding them. You should now have a number in mind as to how many crickets they just ate. Do this for about a week or so, and then find the average based on those numbers. That's how many crickets your dragon is consuming per feeding on a daily basis, okay? This number can vary per dragon, per owner, per situation, per gut load, etc., all right? Now I got that out the way. Let's get to the fun part. I'm gonna get everybody some crickets, okay? And I'm not gonna go through and show you how to feed crickets. You should know how to feed crickets, okay? But if you don't, like I said, start off slow, feed them light, don't feed too much. I'm gonna just let the cameraman or woman go ahead and get some great shots of these guys eating. So now I'm about to feed the baby some crickets, all right? And as you notice, I don't have 2 different sizes of crickets this time. I have 1 size. Now, there is a rule of thumb when it comes to feeding your dragon's crickets. People ask, how big should the feeders that I'm feeding my dragon be? The rule of thumb is that they shouldn't be bigger than the width of their heads, okay? That's the rule of thumb generally. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you and be realistic with you. That's not a rule that I really have ever paid too much attention to. Obviously, I'm not gonna feed a dragon a huge cricket, because when the crickets are huge, a lot of times the dragon won't even pursue it. I guess they're intimidated by the cricket. But you know, it can be a little bigger, you know what I mean, sometimes here and there. It's really not gonna cause a problem. But the problem that it could cause, if you're wondering, is compaction. Basically, like constipation, your dragon can't digest it, and thus it can't poop, and thus this causes illness, death, etc. There's a lot of things you can do to counteract this, etc., so forth and so on. And this is something that we'll talk about in another video, obviously. But like I said, you know, you want to be mindful of what you're feeding your dragons, the size, etc., okay? So these are going to be sufficient in size. There might be 1 or 2 crickets that are big, but not even then are they too big, okay? And because there's a lot of dragons in this tank, I'm gonna kind of overfeed, because I don't want anybody nipping on anyone else. I'd rather there be a free roaming crickets that get picked up and picked off later, as opposed to them picking off each other's tails, okay? Okay, so this right here is our bug bowl that we use, okay? And I've been meaning to pull these out earlier, but as you know, I had a lot of stuff buried in the shed. Now, the beauty about this bug bowl is it has a clear lid with a hole in it that allows you to pour the insects and feeders in the inside, but keeps them from climbing out, okay? So This doesn't really stop crickets from getting out, obviously, because they can hop, but this slows them down greatly. And when you have a pack of hungry dragons like I do, see this guy's ready to go at the bag, they'll quickly devour them within this bowl. So this does a lot of, this helps you out a lot. And I'm gonna show you how hungry these dragons are. All right, so I got them all ready, riled up and expecting to eat. I put this bowl right here and watch this. See, as I say, this slows the crickets down tremendously. Now they're just gonna come in and pick them off. The few that hop out will get eaten a lot quicker than as opposed to it being a bunch running wild. Okay? And if you've been following the channel since the beginning, you know we've always carried these bowls on our website, and we still do to this day. If you're looking for them, once again, the website is www.thelizardofoz.net. Rufus with the plug. I'm gonna put a link in the description, so don't even worry about it, all right? And I gotta thank you all, everyone who's been purchasing from the site. I can't thank you enough. The love, the support has really been motivational and it's really been helpful as far as us ramping up the channel and getting the business back to its former glory, all right? We love you all, okay? So, I'm gonna go ahead and feed everybody else off. And, you know, I'll just let you guys watch as we go. Okay, so we got everybody protein for today. We got everybody fiber early this morning of the vegetation, all right? And like I said, it's 2 to 3 times today, 2 or 3 times a day. So there's going to be a third feeding. You're probably wondering, what else could you offer them, all right? Now this is just a bonus feeding. This is something I do because I have so many babies together. Also because I like to see my dragons grow up fast and fat. So what I'll do for that third feeding, it can be anything. I can come back through and offer them turnip greens. I can come back through and offer them some more protein. Or what I like to do personally is I come through and I offer some Repashy. I have Repashy chopped up, and this is a good time for me to come through and try to bond with everybody because they're a lot calmer, they're on full bellies, and this is just like a snack. So I'll come through with the Repashy sliced up real nice in the tongs and go through and give everybody a little dessert. You know, 3-course meal when you're messing with me. All right, so we'll come back one more time. Like I said, I'll show you guys now that they've been fed. I want to give everybody time to finish off their food, but then after they've all finished off their food, I'll come back through and give them a misting, a real heavy misting, and that'll be the only misting for the day, and that'll be the last time they get any moisture before the, you know, the lights go out, okay? But that's pretty much my routine, guys. So like I said, I'll let you guys see the misting. We want to do that, but that's pretty much the wrap of this video. So I'd like to thank you all once again for tuning in. We'll be back with some more next week. In the meantime and in between time, peace, love, Pogonas, I'm out. All right, so last part, like I said, want to go through and mist everybody before I wrap up the day, okay? It's about 5 o'clock now, so in about an hour, these lights will be cutting off automatically. So that'll give them about an hour to warm back up before the lights go off, okay? And a good thing about misting, a little breeder hack for you, if you're raising hatchlings, misting kind of helps to tame them down and keep them from nipping each other. You go through, you mist, it kind of resets them in a way. So I'll show you how to use that a little better in another video, all right?